Three, two, one.
So apparently I'm an AI character, but let's be real. If I were an AI, would I choose to look like this? Today I'm going to be giving you the uncensored truth of what's happened since I tried to redo my meditation hack from many years ago. Has it worked? Did I reach the vibrational state? And what was the dumb thing I did that I teased about in the first video? If you're finding value in this exploration, please do take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to keep creating this content. Also, the free workbook is available through my Patreon at the free level, link in the description, along with books, resources, and other scientific evidence backing up everything that I'm suggesting. I'm thrilled to see so many new Patreon members and YouTube members, and I'll be giving special thanks to all the new paid members at the end of the video. For those just finding me, in my last video I shared how I combined autogenic training with an out-of-body technique to experience profound states of consciousness in weeks instead of decades. That video resonated with many of you, and if you haven't seen the first video, I recommend checking it out after you've seen this one, and the link is in the description and in the title thing at the end of the video. It explains step-by-step how to potentially shortcut years of meditation, especially if you have an active mind like mine that absolutely refuses to just be still. Now, before I get into my current results, many of you have asked about what happened after I experienced those intense vibrations that I described in the first video and mentioned that I did something dumb, and here's the full story. When I felt that electric, static-like sensation throughout my entire body that, again, was not subtle and it wasn't imaginary, it was extraordinarily real, and my mind was extraordinarily aware and awake. This wasn't a dream, as some people have thought it might have been. No, this was extremely, extremely real. I was in completely uncharted territory. So during that process, I recalled what I had read about in out-of-body experiences from Robert Monroe and decided to try to leave my body. I made a conscious effort to try to separate from my physical form, but nothing happened. And I tried again, focusing harder, and still nothing. At this point, I got impatient, and without knowing any better, I abruptly set up from this deeply relaxed state, something you're absolutely not supposed to do. As a tangent, an important one, a proper way to exit any deeply meditative state is to gradually return to normal awareness. First by wiggling your fingers and toes, and then slowly reintroducing larger movements. This gentle transition prevents the jarring shock to your system that I experienced. Now getting back to it. So, when I sat up suddenly, I felt what I can only describe as my soul being ripped out of my body. It was jarring, intense, and not in any sort of a good way. And despite this dramatic sensation, now what actually feels a bit comical now, though I was dead serious then, is that despite this horrible feeling, my first thought was, did it work? I nervously turned around to see if I was resting on the bed. As you can imagine, this was a bit awkward because I didn't know if I was going to see myself or not. Obviously, I was there. I was fully embodied in myself, and I was just feeling awful. It was only later when researching what had happened, and again, because I had no clue what this really was about, and I hadn't researched this far, that this fuzzy, vibrating state I experienced is documented as a precursor to deeper consciousness states. What I should have done regarding the vibrations was exactly the opposite of what I tried. Instead of forcing my way out through effort, I should have let myself go and surrendered to the experience. It seems obvious now, but at the time, I just didn't know. So that's one of the most important lessons I've learned in consciousness exploration is forcing almost never works. Allowing and surrendering is almost always the key. It's counterintuitive, especially for those of us with active controlling minds, but that's the nature of these deeper states. It's almost, honestly, it's interesting that society actually trains us to do the exact opposite. And you almost have to wonder if it's intentional. Now, jumping to my current results, I've been practicing this autogenic training consistently since making the first video, which was about less than a week ago. And I am definitely experiencing much deeper levels of relaxation. I haven't reached that intense vibrational state yet that I described, but honestly, this isn't surprising given it's been less than a week. There's something very different about returning to a practice after years away. I found that years of living in society's rigid structures Work, schedules, bills, social expectations has made breaking free mentally much harder than it was when I first explored this. What I can share, though, is that the benefits have been tangible in other unexpected ways so far. Over the last several years, I've owned a business that honestly I didn't own nearly as much as it owned me. The mountain of stress and anxiety that built up during that time period is finally being released through this practice. The stress and anxiety has been virtually crippling in so many different ways and just turned me off. And I feel like I'm going through my own personal renaissance right now, remembering who I am and what's important to me and why I want to do these things. And I must say that the feedback and support that I've had in this video has been so empowering and astonishing that it is a true indicator that I'm on the right path. Sleep has been another significant benefit. Typically, I have a lot of trouble going to sleep and even more waking up. But no lie, this practice has allowed me to sleep when I want to. And I'm not sure I remember the last time I slept this well. I don't know how long it will take to completely free myself of all of this accumulated tension that I've built up over the years, but it is happening. The good news is that since I've experienced these deeper states before, the neural pathways already do exist. I just need to find them again. It's the difference between blazing a completely new trail versus rediscovering an overgrown path. I know exactly what I'm looking for rather than wondering what's possible. Now, many of you I have indicated that you have had similar experiences and many others have not. And so you don't have that, but if you at least know what you're looking for, it has to be helpful. So based on my previous experience of what's working for me now, I want to share some practical tips that help you succeed further in this practice. First, frequency matters more than duration. I remember when I did this before and I was successful, I did it almost obsessively, many, many times throughout the day. And I think that frequency and almost obsessiveness about it was a game changer. This was the key to my success and is proving essential now as I continue to pick up the pace. 5 minutes several times a day seems to be more effective than one long session. Second, if you're having trouble getting your arms and legs to relax, try intentionally tensing them up first and then releasing. Tense and release. And that seems to help your body remember or at least get the idea of what you're trying to achieve. Another useful trick if you're struggling to feel the sensation of heaviness with the meditation is to hold something with a bit of weight in your hand or if you can somehow on your legs that doesn't distract you from the meditation experience. As for the environment, it is ideally done in silence, but personally, I love having the background sound of rain. For whatever reason, it helps create a consistent auditory environment that somehow makes it easier for me to turn inward and just relax my mind all the more. I just love it. So, but experiment with what works for you. Some people prefer complete and utter silence. Others find gentle nature of sounds very helpful. Now, I'd actually like your input on something. There's been some interest in me creating a guided meditation specifically for this practice. Is that something you'd find valuable? Let me know in the comments, and if there's enough interest, I'll put one together. One other unexpected development has been the response from the amount of people with ADHD, since I had mentioned it, that I haven't in my previous video. Many of you have commented about how traditional meditation has been impossible and how this alternative approach feels more accessible. This resonates deeply with me as someone who struggled with similar challenges. I've known that my restless mind still fights me during practice, but there's a clear pattern. The more consistently I practice, the less resistance I experience. It's like my brain is gradually remembering, oh, that's what I'm trying to find out. Why it feels so good. All right. There's an interesting paradox happening too. These videos is helping me stay accountable to my practice, which is positive, knowing that I have to make this video and preceding videos and that there are expectations from people wanting to hear what I've done. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with you. But again, it has only been a week and I'm ramping up and I'm remembering a lot. I'm remembering little tips about the tension, relax, and the weight in the hands and all this other stuff. It's all coming back to me now. I'm just pushing aside that little sound in the voice that says, you better experience these vibrations again or people are going to think you're just making this up. Well, people are going to think that if they want to or not. It doesn't matter. But I would much rather just be genuine and honest with you. And as I develop this channel and all of this, I want this to be experimental. Some things will work, some things won't. I do happen to know this one does work, and I'm dying to see what it takes for me to get back there and share those results with you. I'm absolutely determined to reach that vibrational state again and go much further. I've been much further before, and I know I can do it again. The feedback from many of you has been incredibly encouraging. So many people have commented that they've been stuck in their meditation practice for years, feeling like failures because they couldn't quiet their minds. And this body to mind approach has given them new hope again. Now, again, nothing I've suggested is new. There are plenty of different traditions that talk about it, but a lot of different Eastern traditions in particular are buried with cultural baggage. Not to say that there's not wisdom and value in that, but my personal style and goal is I want to strip away all of that and just get to the truth, what works and what doesn't work. And one person had wrote that after 10 years of frustrated attempts at meditation, I felt heaviness in my arms in a day or two using this method. That they actually cried because they finally felt something real. Wow. I've also noticed quite a few comments mentioning how refreshing it is to watch content like this instead of the endless doom scrolling we now call watching the news. One viewer wrote, I came here from my full feed of world problems and political fights, and this is like a breath of fresh air, content that actually improves my life instead of stressing me out. Amazing. I appreciate that sentiment deeply. We all need spaces where we can focus on growth and exploration rather than constant crisis and conflict. I've also received many kind of comments about my presentation style. Apparently being calm, measured, and thoughtful is refreshing in a platform that often rewards being loud and over the top. This is genuinely who I am. I'm not here to entertain with manufactured excitement or to sell you an exaggerated claim and pretending that I'm something that I'm not. I'm a seeker, like all of you. I've had different experiences. I've had a very dynamic life with a whole lot of different things that have happened. And I just want to share my experiences with people of like mind. And quite simply, my goal is to simply offer real value and no BS. Now, there have been some truly humorous moments in the comments. A surprising number of people, I'm up to 4 comments now, have actually accused me of being an AI character. Seriously, first off, if big tech were creating AI avatars, do you really think this would be the design of choice? I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd at least give myself some hair maybe, or maybe not pick a 50-year-old guy to be the AI presenter, maybe a guy who doesn't occasionally just wander off in different tangents and fumbles on his words and gets distracted. Have you seen my home setup? If I were AI generated, wouldn't I at least have perfect lighting and a flawless background and music that everyone's happy with? Not to mention, I'm pretty sure AI wouldn't develop the under eye circles I get after late night. I've never thought in my life I'd actually have to convince people that I'm a real person. And oddly, every time I ask these same people who are so convinced that I am obviously an AI character, why do they believe that? I never get an answer. I don't understand. If anybody has any insights as to why anyone would think that I'm an AI character, I'd like to know. And if anyone's still having doubt, I'm going to put that to rest right now. Have you ever seen an AI character sitting at a desk wearing a suit, coat, and shorts? I didn't think so. Yeah, I like to dress up a little bit from the waist up. I like to make a nice setting and create a nice environment. Why not? And yes, I'm wearing more than I usually do. I'll leave that there. Anyway, but on all seriousness, if someone needs to believe for some reason that I'm an AI character, so be it. I've had people comment that I was also an AI character because I've responded back to everyone's comments. And it has taken time, but I want to. I'm eventually, if the channel gets big enough, I may not have the time to do that, but I do now. It's better than just watching the news right now. I'd rather go through, read everybody's comments and just find out who everybody is. It's been awesome. And then the funniest part is that some people think my experiences are just too extraordinary to be real, which is ironic because if I were making this up, I'd probably claim to have mastered the technique again immediately. Not to admit that I'm still working to recapture the state, but maybe struggling actually makes me seem more human-like, and I'm accidentally passing the Turing test. But seriously, I get the skepticism. That's why I created the workbook for free. You don't have to believe me. Try it. Try it yourself. Come to your own conclusions. And yes, predictably, there have been a few comments from people upset that I didn't give them everything they needed in the first 2 minutes of the video. I find this ironic because I'm offering what I believe is a massive shortcut to advanced states of consciousness, but apparently a 24-minute video is just too long for people. Really? What's encouraging, though, is the vast majority of you seem to find this approach refreshing and are eager to try it yourselves. So many of you have shared your own experiences in the comments, from significant improvements in sleep quality to subtle energy sensations beginning to emerge that either you haven't felt or haven't felt in a long time. Keep those coming. They're incredibly valuable, not just for me, but everyone else in this journey to hear what's happening with you. So what I'm going to be doing differently moving forward between now and my next update, when I first experienced the vibrational state many years ago, I was practicing almost obsessively, multiple times per day. I realized I really do need to step up my practice dramatically if I want to recreate and then go beyond those experiences. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to increase both the frequency and duration of my sessions. Rather than just doing a morning and evening session, I'm going to integrate micro sessions throughout the day. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, constantly reinforcing those neural pathways. I'm also extending my main sessions, particularly in the evening when there are just fewer distractions. I'm also paying more attention to the subtle sensations that I probably rushed in the past the first time around, and those small indicators of progress, the way heaviness flows from one limb to another limb, the pattern of warmth that develops, the moments when my breath seems to breathe itself, and I don't have to really think about it anymore, and it's just starting to get into that zone, and I've been starting to feel a little bit of that. And most importantly, I'm remembering the lesson of my first experience, not to force anything. When and if I reach the vibrational state again, I'll practice surrendering into it rather than trying to control or direct it. In my next video, I'll be sharing progress with this intensified practice regimen and let you know how it went. I'm not going to give you artificial cliffhangers or manufactured secrets, just an honest documentation on what's working, what isn't, and any breakthroughs that occur. Your feedback of what is working and what not working may not only help me, others, and I may be able to integrate it into future videos as well. So your comments and suggestions truly are important, and I am reading them. This is already becoming a collective journey, and I'm learning as much from you as you might be learning from me. Share your experiences, and not just for me. The collective wisdom of many explorers is far more valuable than any single perspective. Now, while I haven't reached a vibrational state yet again, it's only been a week, I'm recognizing this journey is valuable regardless of when that happens. The foundation building phase has benefits, and I'm finding that the balance between patience and determination is teaching me something new. Remember, this is about exploration, not performance. Whether you're experiencing profound states or just beginning to feel the heaviness in your arms for the first time, you're on the path. That's what matters. And now, as promised, while we have had significant increase in Patreon members at the free level, I'd like to give special thanks to our new paid Patreon members who are supporting this work. There are Miss Sparkles, Andy Ryder, Bob Sandridge, Jalen R., and Maxine Johnson. Thank you so much, and I hope you will decide to join a higher tier yourself soon. Your support means the world to me and helps make this exploration possible, and I'll see you in the next update, hopefully with some exciting breakthroughs to share, and I have a lot of very interesting videos that I have a feeling that all of you are going to be interested in. Thank you so much.